Hello and welcome to this video on making your oak chips a stronger char flavor. Oak chips are the accessible and easy to use alternative to barrels for home brewers and very small scale breweries. You can use them in the making of wine, whiskey, bourbon, brandy, barrel-aged beer, and more. What a barrel provides is several-fold. The first benefit of oak at least is the wood flavor. This includes vanilla and other flavors. All of these help to add complexity to your brew as it ages. By itself, this is a nice change, but it also facilitates other chemical reactions as you nearly always use a barrel to store your homebrew in a barrel for a long time, generally of at least 1 year or more. The other advantage to a barrel is that they are charred, that being burnt on the inside. This char helps to absorb flavors and balance some of the chemistry. The smoky flavor from this char also gets into your brew to some extent. Sadly, not everyone can either afford or can store a barrel no matter the size. This is why oak and other wood chips exist. The limit of these chips is that they are often made from barrels used for something like wine or spirit making previously. This ends up with much of the char missing. It is also reduced by washing the chips before use. This is one reason why we will show you how to char your wood chips for use again. First and foremost, safety. You will be using fire to do this, and so care must be taken. Now that our YouTube overlords are satisfied, we can get to the details. Spread your oak chips or other wood of choice over a wire tray. You want a largely single layer of chips with little space between them. A little overlap won't matter, but you don't want everything piled up in one mound. The wire tray is useful, as the flames will not blow the chips away, nor will the flame heat the area so you get more control over what happens. And now for the fire. You can either use a grill or something like a torch. In this case, we prefer a torch, but the choice is yours. Light your fire and apply it in a sweeping motion. This lets you judge how much it has been burnt. Continue to sweep from side to side to get a progressively more charred wood chip. If using a grill, you'll simply need to check regularly and see how everything is being heated and if there are any particularly hot spots. What you do not want to do is for everything to be black and destroyed on the surface. Some black or over-charred points are okay, as they will add some flavor and they won't overpower anything, but if everything is blackened from the fire, you will just have a burnt flavor, and this is not particularly appeasing. Barrels get over this issue by being much thicker than oak chips. The mass makes up for the effect. Oak chips are very thin and light, so you need a much less aggressive hand. For more detail on how you roast your oak chips, we have a video on this. That will help you get a nice color to your chips, and you need only char them afterwards. Or you can choose to char part and color or roast part. Thankfully, charring your oak chips, at least in this respect so far, is much easier at home than for a barrel maker. They need huge flamethrower-like devices to charge their barrels, and they do it for every barrel. The average home brewer can get away with a creme brulee torch, grill, or similar for this example and method. Another is to literally smoke them, and you can do this with any number of smoking methods. The easiest comes to our mind is to take your wood chips and place them in a large container. Get something that will produce wood smoke, so you can often use these same chips, just broken down into slightly smaller sizes for this. You cover the thing you're going to smoke them in with tin foil. Plastic wrap and then tin foil is a little bit better, but the plastic wrap may melt, so you need to be careful of that. But if you just use tin foil, it should be safe. You now light your smoking device, and this should pump in smoke into the container. Once you've finished with adding as much smoke as you want or think you want, you can then remove it, turn it off, completely close in the container you're smoking the chips in, and leave it to sit somewhere. Generally, we suggest putting it somewhere cold like a fridge. The next day, you can take them out, pour the smoked chips into their own separate container, and they should be ready to go. This will impart a much stronger smoke smell and taste from them than if you just used roasted chips. The caveat to this is that you need to experiment quite a bit to get just the right duration of smoke. Sometimes it doesn't work the way you want it to. Sometimes it's just too much smoke flavor, other times it's not enough. The other advantage to doing it this way though is that you can actually blend flavors from multiple different woods. And as weird as it may sound, it's quite convenient at times. You can get the sweet taste of maple along with the solid base of an oak by using both oak chips and maple. Maple makes smoke, and that infuses into the oak chips, whereas the oak chips themselves are what you add directly to the brew. Or you can try the inverse. Compared to directly heating the chips themselves, this is at least nominally safer, but also gives you a little more flexibility. However, you do need to get used to working with them, and it does require considerably more experimentation. And that's perhaps the biggest problem. You need to be willing to risk entire batches of beer or similar if you're going to oak them, and you need to have a little more experience with how much to add and what kind of flavors will work. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it interesting, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please post any comments, questions, or suggestions you have below.